Hey everyone, back here for another weekly tip from home. I know my lighting's a little bit quirky, but bear with me. Got to work with what you got in these circumstances. So I know we talked a little bit about last week with the pandemic, how things are changing and how companies are moving to either working remotely or not having face-to-face interactions. And I thought that would be a good transition into this week's topic, which is 5 things to really be aware of due to these changes in your operations because of the COVID-19 pandemic. So the first one that I want to talk about are passwords. Obviously, you and your employees want to have complex passwords, and I think this is particularly special for tree services that have these office people or salespeople working remotely, or even at a job site with hardware like laptops or cell phones that have company information and client information. So utilize resources like Dashline. RoboForm is another one we use where you can have the app on your phone and use two-factor identification where you try to log in on your computer and it'll send a code over to your phone to verify that you are who you say you are. Another thing to look out for during this pandemic is going to be outbound emails. My dad actually was getting tree work done by a local tree service and had an email come into him, and he had actually had the work done already, but he hadn't paid. And an email came from the tree service's Gmail account that was asking for the bill. But the only discrepancy was that the bill was a different amount than what him and the tree service owner had talked about. So that was how he knew something was a little bit off, and he ended up giving the tree service a call, and it turns out that his Gmail, the tree service's Gmail had been hacked, and then they were trying to get my dad to send information to a totally different place. So if something like that does happen and you have clients' information that is breached, you may be responsible for damages, defense costs, things like credit monitoring. These are all things that can be covered by a cyber insurance policy. So encourage you guys to check with your insurance agent to make sure that not only that you have cyber coverage, but that you have the proper cyber coverage that will actually cover for the whole load of things that you could be on the hook for in case of a breach. The third one that I think is important is going to be inbound emails. So are you and your employees trained in terms of what kind of things they need to look out for? 3 quick tips on that. We work closely with an IT security company to make sure that emails are filtered. And even with that, as good as the IT company is, we still have emails pop through. So make sure that, one, you're checking your junk for regular emails that get thrown in there, but making sure that just because an email gets into your inbox doesn't mean that it's legitimate. You got to be aware that there are still things that can squeak their way through. And 2 other things to look out for would really be to verify the sender information. A lot of times you'll see emails that'll have one small letter changed and you might not notice it at a first glance, so look closely to verify that the sender is who they say they are. And then also hover over things like hyperlinks or attachments with your mouse so you can see that where they're actually going to take you, because a lot of the times you'll have hyperlinks, as you guys well know, that can take you to different places, and as soon as you click on it, you're in some serious trouble. The fourth one, I should say, would be VPN. So if you guys have a lot of salespeople or office people working remotely, or even your employees that are going out to conferences, I know probably right now people aren't going to be working from restaurants, but if they're connecting to public networks, you want to have what is called a VPN, a virtual private network, which essentially allows you to use public networks but still have your individual device appear like it's operating on a private network. So it's really just a safety measure, and consider when you're looking at signing up for those how many devices you're typically going to use a month and how often they're going to be utilizing a VPN, because that'll ultimately play into your overall cost. The last one, and pretty obvious one, spoofs. So right now the World Health Organization has come out and say that we're actually in an infodemic as well, and along with a pandemic. So what they mean by that is there's a lot of a lot of misinformation going around regarding COVID-19. So there have been emails that are going out saying COVID-19 update, and everyone's clicking on it because we're all desperate for new information. So making sure that you guys are checking in on credible resources like the World Health Organization, Centers of Disease Control, CDC, and then your industry associations like TCIA and ISA, which are all credible resources, and providing you with information applicable to your specific industry. So if you guys have any other questions on cyber in general, or where you can get good, solid information, feel free to reach out to Eric and I. As always, I hope you guys are staying healthy, hope you guys are staying safe, and hope all is well. Thank you.